As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU 102 FM 610 AM. Also on the new KVNU mobile app.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by U&I Furniture. Along with mayors from neighboring cities and Logan's mayor and council members that all look to Logan for fire protection, Logan Fire Chief Brad Hanig kicked off the groundbreaking ceremony this morning for the new Station 70 that's going in across the street from the current fire station. Hanig said the fire service is steeped in tradition.
Logan City Fire Department was established in 1880. We have been within a half a block of this location for the past 142 years, providing valuable services to this wonderful community. We're excited for this new facility and the additions and support it will provide the area for years to come. Thank you for joining us today as we kick off our construction project for the new Fire Station 70 and what we as firefighters endearingly call the firehouse.
As Logan Mayor Holly Danes started to speak, fire crews across the street were paged out.
Good morning, everyone. It is, well, there they go. I don't think that was staged. Aren't we glad? I mean, that is the perfect reminder of why we are here today. Because a good part of what cities do is public safety. And whether it's our police department or our wonderful fire department, they are the folks who are there on your very worst day, helping when you really need help.
And we'll hear more from Logan Mayor Holly Danes and also Chief Hanig on the groundbreaking today. This hour on KBNU's For the People. KBNU News Time is 5:07. KBNU weather for tonight, mostly clear skies, overnight low in the mid-30s, sunny around 70 tomorrow, mid-70s on Thursday. It was 68, a little bit cooler today, and right now we have 67 degrees at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Turn life up. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Danes at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Go to cachehearing.com.
The showroom is full. The warehouse is full. Orders from the last 12 months are all showing up at U&I Furniture, and they're stocked up. U&I has lots of furniture for you to shop and see. Plus, with inflation on the rise, manufacturers are lowering prices. It all adds up to a really good time to furniture shop for upholstered furniture like sofa, loves, sectionals, recliners, and more. U&I features American-made name brands to imports. Local delivery is available. They've been saying it for over 90 years, and it's now more true than ever. It's always a better buy at U&I Furniture in downtown Logan.
KBNU News Time is 5:08. The write-in candidacy of local businessman Mark Ensign for county executive is apparently gathering steam, in addition to a whole crop of campaign lawn signs that have sprung up across the county. Ensign has also garnered new endorsements. When he announced his candidacy in early September, he could boast of endorsements by county council members Paul Borup, Gina Worthen, and David Erickson, by former council member Lane Beck and former county executive Lynn Lemon. Now his list of endorsements has grown to an even dozen, including former county clerk Jill Zollinger, former county treasurer Karen Jepson, former member of the county council Darrell Gibbons, Kimber Hall of the Hall Oil Company, and two former mayors of local communities, Michael Hall of Richmond and Larry Johnson of Paradise. Candidate says those endorsements are the tip of the iceberg, noting he is receiving a groundswell of support from across the county as he's running as a write-in candidate against current Cache County executive David Zook. 3 individuals have been arrested on suspicion of backing 2 Taylorsville officers into a corner and assaulting them during a party late Saturday night. Police had responded twice to noise complaints about a very loud party. Officers returned to the house just after 11 p.m. and said they were planning to cite the homeowners when more than 60 intoxicated partygoers backed them into a corner and assaulted them. Taylorsville police have arrested 3 individuals who are alleged to have been involved. 50-year-old Sebastian Gonzalez, 21-year-old Juanito Luis Castro Rodriguez, and 24-year-old Jessenia Gonzalez. Sebastian Gonzalez owns the home where the party took place, according to police. KBNU News Time is 5:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Reporting the news that matters to you. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, your number one radio station for news and talk.
With the arrival of fall, potential heavy rainstorms, fallen leaves, and debris, the Cache Stormwater Coalition would like to remind you of a few things to be mindful of. Clean out all the leaves and debris from your rain gutters. Use a broom or rake to remove leaves and debris from the top of storm drains, as clogged storm drains can lead to flooding. Don't keep piles of yard waste in your yard, on the sidewalk, or street. Use a green waste recycle bin, and check with your local city office on where to place collected leaves for pickup. And when it snows, remember to keep the snow away from curb and gutter and storm drains. We can all make a difference if we do our part. Brought to you by the Cache Stormwater Coalition.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We are humbled by and grateful for the tremendous support we have been shown since opening our doors nearly 2 years ago. So we just want to say thank you. On behalf of everyone at White Pine, first and foremost, thank you for allowing us the honor and privilege of serving you and caring for your loved ones. Additionally, thank you for voting White Pine the best mortuary in Cache Valley in both 2021 and 2022.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Feels like Tuesday. Tuesday has no feel.
We're caught in a trap.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Hour 2 of today's show. Some highlights from last night's 1st Congressional District debate. Likely the only debate we'll see between candidates Representative Blake Moore, Republican, and challenger Rick Jones, Democrat. This took place at Weber State University last night. We broadcast it live 6 to 7 p.m. last evening, courtesy of the Utah Debate Commission. It was organized by the Debate Commission and moderated by UPR's Carrie Bringhurst, and it was a pretty decent event. I think it's fair to say in this race there aren't going to be any surprises. The competitive races here in Utah are between, I would say there are 2 competitive races right now. One in House District 16 south of us in the Davis County area between GOP nominee Trevor Lee, who's been kind of bogged down by scandal since getting the nomination at convention, and former Republican Stephen Handy, who lost at convention and did not collect signatures to be on the ballot anyway. Handy's mounting a write-in campaign. He's got more name recognition. He's the former popular representative with the district, just apparently not popular with GOP delegates. So that race, I think, is competitive. And then, of course, the polling we've seen on the United States Senate race between incumbent Mike Lee and challenger Evan McMullen, that one looks pretty competitive, too. In fact, a Deseret News Hinckley Institute poll yesterday showed that the two are within, this is the third poll to show this, that the two are within margin of error of each other, taking turns in the lead, but 3 polls in a row, which Nate Silver, 538, says if you really want to understand the usefulness of polls, it's the trends. The trends tell you where things are going. The trends in that race we've seen, basically the high number of undecideds shrinking. And as that high number of undecided shrinks from, I think a few months ago, it was at like 20-something%. In this most recent poll, 12% only were undecided. And as that group of undecided shrinks, Evan McMullen's numbers tend to go up. So a clear trend there that the undecided voters are being won over by McMullen's message for what that's worth. I still say McMullen's a long shot, but it's a competitive race, and we don't see that in Utah very often. So that one House District, House District 16, and the United States Senate race, I would say are the only 2 competitive races in Utah this cycle. No offense to Democratic candidate Rick Jones, who was on the stage last night at this debate. It's just probably not in the cards for a Democrat to win this one. And Congressman Moore, though he's just coming into the final months of his first term, has been, I think, decently popular and very accessible to voters here in Utah, large and the first congressional district. So if I had to wager, he's going to sail to re-election. That said, last night, Democratic challenger Rick Jones gave him a run for his money in what was a pretty robust debate. I was impressed by the questions. That was the first part that kind of struck me as worth noting. The questions, there were a few about, hot button issues in the headlines these days, but there were also some very questions with depth when it comes to healthcare costs. That's something that really hasn't dominated nationwide or any other campaign here in Utah. But there was quite a back and forth between Moore and Jones last night on healthcare costs. And we've got some highlights we'll get to here in a bit. And also for a district that covers northern Utah, but also Park City, Kaysville, and over to the Nevada, Idaho, and Wyoming borders, it's a district with a lot of different constituencies, I guess. And so telehealth came up during this discussion as well for some of the more rural areas of the district. It's, I think, worth noting that the two candidates were also extremely friendly with each other. This was a debate that didn't get heated at any point, but at the same time, there was stark disagreement. Very few times did either candidate say they agreed with the other, although there were a few times that did happen. It wasn't often. So it was definitely two candidates coming from very different perspectives and with very different opinions on the issues, but it was cordial. And that's probably an understatement. You could tell that these are two candidates who like each other. And I think that's worth noting considering the state of politics in other parts of the state these days. One of the standout exchanges during last night's debate was a question from a member of the audience for Congressman Moore and challenger Rick Jones on Biden's recent announcement to forgive up to $10,000 of student loan debt for those making under a certain amount of money per year per household. And the exchange was lively, but it really, I'll be honest with you, this is the first time that I've heard a Republican articulate. Congressman Moore articulated the Republican alternative. I've heard a lot of opposition to this from Republicans, but not a lot of acknowledgement that the student loan debt is currently a drag on our economy. And Congressman Moore last night expressed, the first that I've heard at least, an actual alternative plan. And so a bit from that exchange.
Perfect. Thank you. So student loans and debt are significant problems for many college students. What do you think is the best way to alleviate this debt's pressure on the economy and on students?
And let's see, we begin with Mr. Moore.
I'm first. Okay. The question is the best way to alleviate student loan pressure?
Yeah, so what do you think is the best way to alleviate the debt pressure of student loans on students?
Is making sure that our higher ed universities and institutions, going even down to our tech and trade centers, focus on jobs, focus on the next level of jobs, and making sure that our students are prepared to take on those jobs. That way their investment in what they're doing with respect to higher ed is the most fruitful that it could possibly be. And you know who's doing a great job at it? Is right here at Weber State. Okay, you can go to my tech centers, and the tech centers in the entire first district, from Davis, Ogden Weber, Bridgerland, UB Tech, they are doing something that is exceptional, and the state legislature's been on board with it. What has the state legislature done? They say, hey, juniors and seniors in high school, we want you to get a skill. Go, we're going to give you free tuition and go to these tech centers, and then we want you to promote a skill, so when you do decide to go to a four-year school, you are able to make a better income, have a different type of job that's even more productive. If universities are focused on that, then we will continue to see productivity going there. The way that I've been outspoken about this, is President Biden's plan to forgive $10,000 to $20,000 in student loan debt is not a plan to fix rising costs. And there's even provisions in that particular executive order that would disincentivize universities from even doing that, because they would just forgive a bunch of student debt after 20 years that you weren't required to pay back. And this is going to make it so it's more and more easy to get easy money, easy lending, and universities aren't going to fix the problem. And I'm really proud of what universities right here in the 1st District do, Utah State included.
Well, I'd like to mention, I think one of the solutions to reducing cost actually came out of Utah a number of years ago with Utah Governor Mike Leavitt helping to create Western Governors University. In 2015, my daughter called us and said she had a nice surprise for us, and she was going to graduate from Western Governors with a degree in nursing instruction, and she was able to get a job at BYU with that, but the total cost of that was $3,500. And you know, some people spend $50,000 for a master's degree or so. So I think it would be probably appropriate for the government then to insist that if students need to go heavily into debt, that they maybe take a look at less expensive schools and go that route. And I think that would be a good approach.
The next exchange that stuck out to me from last night's event, and by the way, you can watch the entire hour-long debate at the Utah Debate Commission's website. I've linked to that on our Facebook page. But the next exchange, as I mentioned, healthcare costs came up in this. A question from a Weber State University student during last night's event was basically, you know, what would you do to make healthcare more accessible and affordable, especially for students or those on a fixed limited income, seniors and others that are dependent on, you know, maybe private insurance in some scenarios. We've gained a lot of ground in this area as far as getting more people insured, as far as putting some controls on the healthcare industry as far as rising costs go. But the student said, you know, it's still very unaffordable, even for those who now have more access to it. So the question for the candidates is, what, as a member of Congress, would you do to address this? And Democratic challenger Rick Jones answered first.
Our healthcare costs really are completely out of line relative to the rest of the world. I read an article a quarter century ago, and Toyota was going to come and build a major plant in this hemisphere, and they had suitors from Ohio and Michigan and Alabama, places that had built cars, and this seemed like a natural place for them because this was potentially their biggest market. They ended up going to Ontario, Canada, because each car embodied more health insurance costs than it did steel. And I don't know why we need to have health care costs where 25% or something approaching that is consumed by paperwork, and then places like Taiwan can keep their health care costs in a way where they only spend less than 2% on paperwork. So we definitely need a lot of change in that area.
So I can't think of a better population of folks to fully embrace telehealth, telemedicine more than university students. You guys are busy. You should be busy. I hope you're busy. You're doing it right if you're busy. And you're overall relatively healthy population, younger, active, and we have to be able to take a look at some of the things that took place in COVID to say, hey, let's embrace this. Let's figure out how to go about doing it. I was proud to be a part of passing legislation, largely bipartisan, a lot of agreement on this back in Washington. It was signed into law to expand that for a couple of years so we could further test it out and see what benefits they are. I think that healthcare providers can benefit from this. They could potentially see more patients. This will naturally produce a bigger focus on preventative care, which is where we need to go. If we are constantly focused on just fixing the symptoms, or we get so bad that we're not, then we're going to continue to see our costs increase and increase. So that's a fix that you've seen Congress come together on. You don't see it oftentimes. You definitely don't see it in the news much on what we do actually productive back there, but there's a lot of things. We could talk about Secure 2.0, but that's hopefully for a retirement question later. There is things that we're doing. when you go to the store, when you choose a car insurance, when you do any type of consumer activity, you get to say, oh, this is $20, this is, $28. I'm going to choose this. Have you ever done that with your X-rays? No, you've never done that, because we don't allow and we don't encourage transparency and competition enough in our healthcare markets. And that's the key focus of what the Commitment to America is how do we build that more into here, because this is our largest budget item and it is going to continue to balloon out of. I'm sorry, I love talking about this stuff.
Let's see if Mr. Moore has anything he wants to add to that.
Jones,
excuse me.
Well, I would completely agree with that, and I can't applaud the Biden administration strong enough for reducing drug prices, and I think it should be that way for everyone. A key reason our drug prices are so completely out of hand is we have a lot of pharmaceutical executives that are making in the vicinity of $25 million and things like that. If you go to Europe, there's no pharmaceutical executives making $25 million, and I think we can get it under control by taking a good look at that.
I see, Mr. Moore, you have something to add to that?
Absolutely. This is one of those things, when I said I wanted to be a conservative voice for the next generation of Americans, I want to be able to communicate the reality. And when we are desperate in need of a vaccine, who did it? Americans did. Republicans were back there in their healthcare policy, and in a lot of ways, they're focused on the root cause. Why are prices so much? Let's go after supply chain. Let's go after some of these other issues that are causing prices to go up so much. That's where the focus needs to be. And we can't demonize the healthcare industry in one breath, and at the same time thank them for coming up so quickly with the vaccine. It's tough. We need to focus on cures and not necessarily symptoms as much.
On the tail end of these questions, both candidates fielded a question that is probably dominating most races throughout the country and may end up being the tipping point for who controls one or both or zero of the chambers of Congress in these midterm elections, abortion. And the recent Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade, it's definitely been a game changer as far as where the enthusiasm is at, and a gift for Democrats really electorally, at least as far as the prognosticators are predicting heading into the election in a few weeks. But here in Utah, of course, kind of a different picture for the candidates, and this is a Utah race. So the question was a simple question: do you consider abortion health care? We'll get to the candidates' answers on that question from last night's Utah Debate Commission 1st Congressional District debate right after this.
With rising gas prices, there's never been a better time than now to go electric. Come to Murdoch Volkswagen and see what all the hype is about when you test drive the new 2022 ID4. With a range of just under 300 miles, the ID4 has all the latest technology, including a digital dash, remote access, adaptive cruise, and blind spot monitoring. Come in and take a test drive and reserve your brand new electric ID4 today. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Volkswagen in Logan or online at murdochvw.com.
Call 866-628-3065 to see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 11/1/22.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Playing for you some highlights from last night's Utah's 1st Congressional District debate between Republican Congressman and incumbent Blake Moore and Democratic challenger Rick Jones. It was a lively debate. And as I mentioned already, one thing that really stood out, it was very friendly. I don't think we'll see that same thing happen in the other two debates that will happen this week with the other districts. But it was very friendly. You could tell these were two gentlemen who liked each other and got along and had spoken previously. But there was a lot of disagreement, a lot of ground staked out on near polar opposite ends of opinion. Just before the break there, you heard some highlights from the discussion on healthcare costs, which interested me because that hasn't really come up in many other coverage I've read, at least, of other congressional races, other parts of the country, even national debates headed into the midterm. But it was a pretty dominant topic last night in Utah alongside student loan debt and our final highlight here, abortion. On the tail end of all these healthcare cost-related questions from from USU and Weber State students in the audience last night, the moderator said, well, we're talking healthcare, a simple question for you when it comes to abortion, which, again, is really shaking up these midterms as far as where enthusiasm is at, and is so far looked to be, that Supreme Court ruling looks to be a bit of a gift for Democrats, who were definitely the underdog with their party holding the White House. Fundamentals of the midterms were against them, and it seems to have kind of juiced things up in their favor. People upset about that Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade. Here in Utah, of course, probably not the case, and this is a Utah race. So moderator Carrie Brinkhurst said very simply, her question to make sure the abortion topic came up at least was very simple. She said to both candidates, do you consider abortion health care?
I believe we're on Mr. Moore.
Thank you. This is obviously a huge debate going across our nation as we speak, and will continue to for the coming months and years. As Roe has been overturned, states are having an opportunity to engage in this and be able to shape policy. My focus on this from the very start has been what can I do to promote two really important things to me. One is protecting life, and I won't apologize for it. And the other case is making sure that women have the resources they need when they're in a difficult situation. So I've co-sponsored the Care for Her Act. I've done virtually as much as you possibly could on adoption. I just introduced another bill related to the work of adoption. And the Care for Her Act is something that I care deeply about because it actually focuses on, okay, so when child tax credit, would it apply to a baby in the womb? Well, why wouldn't it? If we believe that's life, then why wouldn't it apply to a baby in the womb? And helping find resources when they're in a difficult situation. So being able to look at both of those things and focus heavily on that is key, and I think we all have a role to play in this.
I think definitely abortion in certain circumstances can be a real health care issue for women. I'm, to be honest, appalled at the idea that a 10-year-old or young children would have to carry babies to term. I just think that goes against so much of what we believe in. And also, like even if a 14-year-old commits a terrible crime, quite often as they get a little bit older, that is erased off of their record. And it's certainly if a young child is raped or so, I think they should have that ability. I also think it's foolish to try to criminalize abortion when about 2/3 of the country do want at least what was available with Roe v. Wade, which permitted women to make the call in the first trimester. I don't think it's really feasible to criminalize it then in that first trimester. And you're going to get into the problem when you do have these exceptions that if two 14-year-olds both claim they were raped and one of them is lying, are you going to have a bureaucrat or a little committee determine which one is lying? And that, I think it will just make the government overly intrusive and meddlesome.
Do you have anything to add?
I would add, to make sure that my voice is on, I support, as Utah legislators have come to an agreement on this, and I anticipate they will continue to work on this in the next session as well, that situations of rape, incest, a woman didn't choose to be in that situation, Those are exemptions that should absolutely exist. Health of the mother, making sure we rely on the medical community to help us understand what those cases are, fully supportive of that.
That surely is going to come up in the legislative session. In fact, one of the almost given tweaks to Utah's abortion ban, trigger law as it was called, sponsored by Senator Dan McKay, is probably the elimination of a provision in the law that says there is an exception for women who were raped to get an abortion here in Utah, but they must prove, or their doctor must find proof, that the rape was reported to law enforcement. I would guess you're going to see lawmakers come back and remove that provision, because the biggest question around that has been, how does that all work? So there's definitely high odds this is going to come up in the legislative session here in Utah. But there you have it, both answers from the candidates in Utah's first congressional district debate last night. Democrat Rick Jones, a former Weber State adjunct professor, and incumbent Republican lawmaker Blake Moore. You can watch the full debate on the Utah Debate Commission website, which I've linked to on our own Facebook page. Just some highlights for you there, some of the most engaging moments of the debate. But the whole thing was pretty decent. Give it a watch if you've got an hour this evening. And we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:35, and the news is brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. Intermountain Healthcare is the first health system west of the Mississippi to use Zipline, the global leader in instant delivery, to bring prescriptions and over-the-counter medications to patients' homes by way of a drone-based delivery service. This enables Intermountain to provide people first care to its patients in person or virtually, and ensures patients can receive support in a convenient and accessible way. Zipline's delivery system features a fleet of small fixed-wing, fully autonomous aircraft that operate quietly and release packages with parachutes to a patient's yard in an area about the size of a couple of parking spaces. Zipline's aircrafts can fly up to a 50-mile radius in most weather conditions. Test flights in Utah began several weeks ago. This partnership will expand gradually over 5 years, and over time, the companies will expand beyond the Salt Lake Valley area to serve other communities throughout Utah so that patients can access the care they need regardless of where they live. The Family Place Utah is celebrating its 40th year of operation. On KVNU's For the People program last week, Kids Place director Krista Usechi said they like to think of the Kids Place as the heart of the family place.
Everything we're doing to strengthen families and protect children is at the heart with the kids.
Usechi said she does not know if people realize the Kids Place is available for parents if they need a break or time for themselves. They serve children up to 11 years old in the community, and any parent can make use of their services. She said to just give the Kids Place a call, and they can watch their kids if the parent or parents need to get to an appointment or go to the grocery store, whatever it is.
And we also, I would put the word out there that we do a date night service on Saturday nights from 5 to 9 p.m. where parents can drop off their kids for 4 hours so they can go spend time with one another without having to worry about paying for childcare.
And recently, the Family Place had the unveiling of a new playground in Smithfield.
Yes, anyone that's driven by Main Street in Smithfield has seen our fabulous new Amelia Lou's A Magical Treehouse. It's a playground for the kids to be able to escape from the realities of life and just enjoy their imagination and get to play out there.
The new playground is at their Smithfield location at 502 South Main Street. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Sidney Dixon pushed back against remarks in a public prayer offered during a recent meeting of the Orem City Council that said, quote, evil things, end of quote, are being taught in schools. Alan Young, father of Orem Mayor David Young, offered the invocation at the Orem City Council meeting on September 27th at the invitation of his son. The prayer expressed gratitude for the nation and freedom and then turned to schools. Young, the 93-year-old Young, said there's so many problems in today's school system. It wasn't that way when his children were in school. They didn't have to fight the evil things that are being said and done and taught in the school system, was the gist of his remarks. Dixon, as part of her October report to the Utah State Board of Education, said the remarks were a dagger to her heart. Dixon, who has been state superintendent since 2016, visits district and public and charter schools statewide each fall to see for herself what's happening in Utah schools. She said she was very dismayed when she heard the public prayer that the schools are full of evil. She said because she witnesses the opposite every day. She said, quote, "Our schools are places of joy and care and goodness and learning," end of quote. KBNU News Time is 5:40.
We might all agree that a vacation to Vegas is good, but Hawaii is better. Same thing when you're building. Wood is good, but metal is better. If you're considering a new building for your farm or business, let Northern Steel Building show you the benefits of metal. Metal is stronger with little or no maintenance, and it doesn't burn. Find out how affordable a metal building really is by visiting northernsteelbuilding.com. That's northernsteelbuilding.com, or call 435-677-7300.
KBNU weather tonight, mostly clear, low in the mid-30s, and then sunny around 70 tomorrow. It's been cooler today. 68 has been our high. It's 66 right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Get yourself prepared for winter with help from your 5 locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores. They have antifreeze, fuel stabilizer, ice melt, Rain-X, and Trico wiper blades. That's your 5 locally owned, Preston to Providence, Napa Auto Parts stores. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Ready to experience a new level of local transit? Well, with the new CDTD app, it's super simple for you to plan your trip to a T. With our interactive map, you can view bus stops closest to your location with real-time arrival information. You can mark your favorite stops, get alerts, set reminders, and much more. So, whether you're a seasoned pro or it's your first ride, get moving today with the new CDTD app.
On the next Handle on the Law.
This is my concern. I go into a theater, which they spend millions of dollars to make it right, and they're not taking care of it.
Okay, here's your answer. You don't go to the theater anymore. You're done.
What about the rest of the people who are going to get infected
George,
by it?
what do you care?
I care.
Whenever you see someone walking around with pimples, do you stop them and go, "Hey, man, you've got pimples. What can I do to help you?"
It's Handle on the Law, Saturdays from 1 to 4 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Sometimes the timing of unplanned things is just so perfect. There was a groundbreaking ceremony this morning for the new fire station. Pretty exciting times, long overdue. If you've been inside, I had the opportunity volunteering for the health department in 2020 or 2021 during the vaccine clinics to see inside the current fire station for the first time since I was in grade school. And man, had nothing changed since I was in grade school. Tiny, tiny place. The bathroom was even exactly the same. Same tile, same light bulbs, flickering fluorescents. So long overdue, especially for Logan's Central Station. It's nice that this is finally moving along. And the groundbreaking happened again this morning. Many people were on hand. Chief Hannig, of course, it brought things to order and introduced the speakers, and our own Bill Walter had a chance to actually talk with him, and we'll get to that in a bit here. But this was, Bill, you managed to grab this during the ceremony. This was just a bit of hilarious time. Well, I shouldn't say hilarious because we don't know what the call was for. So I won't say hilarious because maybe it was something tragic. But the timing of this, as you're, celebrating the groundbreaking on a new fire station, and your Chief Hannig, and you're introducing the mayor, and then you hear, well, Bill, you said you heard it first, right? You heard it through the air.
We'll hear the page.
The pager call.
This,
okay.
Yeah.
Here's the audio of this. This just, I mean, you could not have planned this better for celebrating a new fire station.
Good morning, everybody. We'd like to get started if you want to gather around.
Uh-oh. Fire call.
All right, well, I'd like to welcome everyone this morning. Especially like to welcome the mayor and council members, as well as our partnering city mayor, Mayor Lindsay, Mayor Thompson, other council members from River Heights, Providence, city manager for Providence. Welcome everybody. I hope I didn't forget anyone. We want to welcome you all, fellow firefighters, retirees. I see one of the retired chiefs, Mark Meeker, there in the back. Our community partners for being with us today. It is a true pleasure to be with you to begin construction of the new Fire Station 70. This is a long-awaited project that we have worked diligently for the past couple of years to bring about. I want to especially thank the mayor and council for their continued support through this process. It certainly has taken longer and cost much more than originally anticipated. I'd like to especially thank Rich and the finance director and the city's frugal practices that has made this all possible. The fire service is steeped in tradition, including here in Logan. The Logan City Fire Department was established in 1880. We have been within a half a block of this location for the past 142 years, providing valuable services to this wonderful community. We are excited for this new facility and the additions and support it will provide the area for years to come. Thank you for joining us today as we kick off our construction project for the new Fire Station 70 and what we as firefighters endearingly call the firehouse. I would like to turn some time over to Mayor Daines. She'll come up and say a few words, and then I'll talk a little bit about what this new building will bring us.
Good morning, everyone. It is, well, there they go to work again. I don't think that was staged. Aren't we glad? I mean, that is the perfect reminder of why we are here today. Because a good part of what cities do is public safety. And whether it's our police department or our wonderful fire department.
Just... The mayor steps up to the podium, says, "Good morning, everybody." Just sirens. Hopefully that was not a serious call, something minor. But, yeah, just what a way to mark the occasion. Again, this is long overdue. There has to be relief on the part of Logan City and the fire chief and crew. And there should be relief on the part of Logan City residents that this is now underway because the current station, though, performance hasn't been hindered by it, it would. There's no way they could continue to function efficiently out of that tiny building and the logistics of trying to store everything as they're currently doing. So happy to see this groundbreaking happen. Bill, you went out to this. You had a chance after the groundbreaking ceremony itself and the mayor's remarks and some remarks from Chief Hanig on the technical side of this as it's going to be built.
Yeah.
You had a chance to talk with Chief Hanig himself, and here's a bit of that.
Logan Fire Chief Brad Hanig. And Chief, why don't you tell us what this day means to you?
Well, it means a lot. There's a lot of emotion here as we've worked really hard for this project. It's a great day. It's a monumental day for the Logan City Fire Department to open the next chapter of our administrative and downtown fire station. This is only probably this will be the fourth time in roughly 150 years that we've now reestablishing a new building, new facility, as things change, right, over a 50-year period. So we're excited, looking forward to being able to provide better services and have a better environment and a safer environment for our firefighters moving forward.
Very good. Now, as far as this new building is concerned, square footage wise, maybe you don't know the exact parameters, but will it be twice the size of the existing building?
Not quite. I think we're currently under around 16,000 square feet. We're going to about 22,500, I believe. So it is significantly bigger. When it comes to office space and dorm space, and we don't have a current conference room. Our training room is double the size. So there are some rooms and spaces that'll be double what they currently are, but total square footage is I want to say about 6,000, 6,500 more.
Oh, okay, all right. So you'll have everything here, administrative offices.
That's correct.
For the is that for the entire county?
No, it's just for Logan. We provide services for Logan City, North Logan City, Providence, River Heights, and portions of unincorporated county and up Logan Canyon. So we're kind of the central area of the valley, and so it's administrative services for all of that, including our prevention bureau, EMS, operations, and training divisions.
Just a general overview of what this is going to look like. And, of course, the location, I think, is important. The location is going to be just a more convenient out, I think is the best way to say it, for the fire crews when they do get a call. But most importantly, it's going to be bigger. It really... Like I say, I had a chance to go in during one of the vaccine clinics last fall, a year ago. I had a chance to go in, and one of the clinics happened there, and I had a chance to see that and be reminded of what it is that we're talking about. But yeah, it was a building built a long time ago, and it was causing training issues. There was literally not enough space for all the on-crew or on-shift staff to sleep at the same time, or everyone who was on a sleeping shift. So they had to get pretty creative with divisions within rooms, and it's just and their office space literally on top of each other, elbow to elbow.
Yeah,
it's just
and no conference room to speak of, really.
Oh
from what
none.
The chief was saying,
none at all.
Well, from 1974. I mean, Logan was quite a bit smaller back then.
Sure. And that's, so with that in mind, I think it's long overdue. I think we've done great in Logan City to be able to use the existing station as long as we have. It is long past time for an update. So I'm happy to see it happen. As you could hear in the audio there, Bill grabbed, the chief is happy about it as well. And as far as timeline goes, we'll have a chance to speak with Logan City Mayor Holly Daines a week from tomorrow. She'll be in here for our monthly Speak to the Mayor segment, so we'll find out then what the rough timeline on this is. A lot of people asking about Costco, too. I don't know if there's some rumor going around, Bill, if you've heard it, that the opening date plan has changed. As far as I know,
I saw
we're
Facebook,
still seeing summer 2023, right? Or did you
I
see
don't know.
something? Maybe there's out of the loop.
There is a post going around on Facebook from Costco, and when you press on it, it directs you to the Costco website. It's not some weird website, but this post says November 18th.
Really?
Could that be? I haven't driven by for a while, to be quite honest. So I don't know. I mean,
the reason this is on my mind is they have a little tent and a table set up in the parking lot of L-Dub Suds.
Yeah, they have a few of these,
and it says
around the valley.
Yeah, Costco all over it, and I don't know what
for membership.
Is that what it is?
People
membership? People to sign up.
People can sign up for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't either. I as far as I can tell, these are just internet rumors going around. I haven't heard any official change on that that planned grand opening. But if we do hear something official, I'll tell you. Outside of that, for those asking, which a lot of people have been asking, I think at this point it's just something going around online. I could be wrong. Sometimes things move a little faster than planned. But if we hear something official, we'll be the first to tell you. Believe me. We'll be back right after this.
Attention business owners. Did COVID negatively impact your business? Shutdowns, supply chain issues, or other government mandates that changed your operation? Even if your business made money during the pandemic, you might qualify for the Employee Retention Credit. Let us help your company receive a payroll tax refund authorized by the federal government CARES Act. Tax and payroll specialists will help maximize your refund amount with no out-of-pocket costs. Timing is critical. Call today, 435-213-3200, or go to ercgonow.com, ercgonow.com.
Aegis Home Health and Hospice loves helping the people they serve. Aegis is a home health and hospice organization that lives by core values of character, experience, and trust. Every day, Aegis' goal is to help you with whatever your healthcare needs are and to do it wherever you need us to. Aegis, A-E-G-I-S, Aegis Home Health and Hospice. Call 723-9000 or find them at myaegis.com.
I'm Mark Ensign. I'm running as a write-in candidate for an important local election. I'm running to resolve the conflicts between the current county executive and the county council. I'm asking you to write me in as your Cache County executive to restore order, trust, and cooperation to our county government.
Write in Mark Ensign for Cache County Executive. Visit ensignforcachecounty.com to learn more. Paid for by Mark Ensign.
This is Mike Hall, former Richmond City Mayor. Please join with me in supporting and voting for Mark Ensign as a write-in candidate for Cache County Executive.
Is it just me, or does life seem to slow down this time of year? The kids are back in school, the days are shorter, everyone is on more of a routine. I love it because I get to spend more time with Mom. You see, we moved Mom to Legacy House of Logan a while back, and it's been the best thing for her and us. The meals are wonderful. The activities are so good for Mom. She's made so many friends. The attention they give Mom is more than I could ask for. Thank you, Legacy House.
Legacy House of Logan provides 24-hour care to help your loved one with daily activities on 1400 North in Logan.
Whoa, that was fast. I said before the break, if we heard anything official, excuse me, on a change to, I'm laughing, nearly choking to death. This doesn't happen to Bill and I often, but I said before the break there, I haven't heard anything official. I've heard internet rumors on a change to the grand opening date for Costco, but apparently I was just out of the loop. It is through Costco's official Facebook page. The Logan store will open November 18th.
That's what it says.
That's what it says.
Unless corporate is unless
they made a mistake, maybe. I honestly, to me, when I last I saw it, which admittedly was a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, last I saw the building, I thought it looked on track for a summer 2023 grand opening. It didn't look done enough for November 18th to me. But that is, if you scroll back through the official Costco, not the Utah Costco, but the official Costco Facebook page.
My wife and I were talking about this, and she said, with Costco, they don't need a whole lot of, it's basically a warehouse, so they don't need a lot of doodads and interior decorating like you would for, like for Winco or something like that. So it's basically a warehouse, and so it doesn't. The inside does not have to be.
That's a good point.
Fancy.
That's a very good point. Actually, I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, you don't have to do a lot of decorating. They don't put carpet down. It's just a big gray warehouse. So yeah, they basically just got to get everything in, and then they've got to get everything in, and then put stuff on. Put some tape in the registers. And turn everything on. So, there you have it. I guess I don't know. We have not
see what develops on November 18th. Yeah.
This was not something announced the traditional ways through a press release, which we usually get, or through And last I'd heard from Logan City was they were planning on a summer, maybe late spring 2023 grand opening a few months away. But that is, so those out there sharing it, wondering if it's true, we were able to confirm this at least. It did, the November 18th grand opening date, it was shared originally from Costco's corporate Facebook page.
Maybe somebody will call in to the governor's show next hour and ask him on direct link.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows.
That's right. Good plug, Bill. Nice segue. Direct link with Governor Cox. Not our turn to host this time. It's being hosted out of another rural part of the state. This is Governor Cox's tour of the state on a semi-monthly basis. We had an opportunity to host and moderate this event twice this year, so our turns are done. Back-to-back, by the way, due to some unfortunate timing for other stations. So it's going to be hosted elsewhere, but broadcast here on KVNU tonight. This is Governor Cox taking questions only from rural Utah. Direct link with Governor Spencer Cox is next here on KVNU Logan.